And this is a program that's live. There's the name Live. And it's where we talk about the kind of the human dilemma problems, things about relationships, family, marriage, dating, parenting, being parented, both directions, work, friendships, career. We talk about career leadership, teams, organizations. We talk about emotions, depression, anxiety, PTSD, all those sorts of things. That's the things that people struggle with and have challenges with. And our motive is to try to help people, and our kind of modus operandi is I'll talk, and we're on a bunch of different channels, YouTube and Twitter and all those guys, and you just call in and we'll hear your voice. Won't see you, but we'll hear your voice, and then I'll answer the question. We'll have a conversation. The conversation will help me to kind of get information I need to give you a good practical answer, and one that goes a little deeper than try harder this week, which is not really helpful, but something that gets to a root cause, and something that also that's doable, that you can have an actionable on it. And that's how it works. And we sure love our community, the folks that are showing up and getting something out of this. And you can also text if you need to. So I don't know all the particulars of how that works, but our great producer, Stacy, I want her to say hi. And Stacy, tell people about whatever I forgot.
Okay, sounds good, John. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Dr. Townsend Live Show today. If you've joined us via one of Dr. Townsend's media platforms, you know that this is a call-in show. So the dial-in number is 1-877-853-5257. Again, that's 1-877-853-5257. And then you're going to use a meeting code to enter the waiting room. And the meeting code is 876-5437-2012. Again, 876-5437-2012. You'll be entered into the waiting room. And then once you're connected with John, be sure your camera is turned off because it is a call-in show for privacy purposes. And you will tell him your first name only and where you're calling us from. And we're so glad you're here today. Help us spread the word. We have an hour to help as many people as we can. So let's get started.
Thank you, Stacey. It's every Wednesday at 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock Pacific time, and people call from all over the place. So we're here for that.
Okay. It looks like you have your first caller, John. And I believe it is. Caller, you are live with Dr. Townsend. You can go ahead with your first name and tell us where you're calling from. Caller, are you with us? Well, maybe they are having some technical difficulties, so we will move on. And caller, if you can hear us, give us a try back. Okay. Okay. Caller, you are live on the Dr. Townsend Live Show. Go ahead and tell Dr. Townsend your first name and where you're calling us from.
Hi there. My name is Sheila.
Hi, Sheila.
Hi. I'm from Canada and Ontario, Canada. And my question is, I'm wondering what the role of parents are when adult children and siblings, in-laws are not getting along.
Tell me a little bit about what you're seeing.
Okay, so we have our oldest daughter and her husband get very easily offended and feel like they are always being picked on by the other ones. And these people are in their 30s and 40s.
Mm-hmm. And are they being picked on, or is it just sort of like they're oversensitive people?
It's a little of both. They are a little picked on by another sister and another brother-in-law, but they also tend to over-exaggerate it and make it explode. And then our son-in-law, because of his temperament and whatnot, he won't address it. So we would like to fix it, but we don't want to speak for him if he won't deal with it himself. However, it's casting a shadow on family gatherings.
Oh, sure. I'm sure it's like really sad and uncomfortable. So That was going to be my next question, Sheila, was, okay, are they asking you to fix it, or you just see the problem and you would like to fix it?
They are not asking us to fix it. However, the other sisters and their husbands would love for us to get involved, and well, probably they'd like us to set them straight, even though various people have responsibility.
Yeah, you got to share the misery, and they don't want to share the misery, right?
That's right.
Okay. A parent of an adult child. The word adult child is actually an oxymoron, Sheila. I mean,
Yes, I agree.
it's used a lot, but the word child means dependent, and the word adult means autonomous. So I've never been crazy about that phrase. And you got some people in their 30s acting like kids, right?
Yeah.
So your role has changed. You're now a person who hopefully they love you and they respect you and they look to you for historical wisdom and guidance when asked and all those things, but they are emotionally, spiritually, financially autonomous. So I think the best thing you can do would be if you called and said, look, I just got some friends and I see, and they're my next door neighbors and they're miserable and I don't know how to help. I kind of answer this in sort of the same vein. It would have to do with offering. I would offer one time. And now you said your daughter sounds more amenable to help, and your son-in-law not amenable to help. Do I have that right?
Yeah, he doesn't want to. I think if he thought we could put him in a good light and fix it with everybody else, he might be open to that, but he doesn't want to talk about it. Like, he said a couple things to us when there was an incident, but he doesn't want to talk to any of the other brother-in-laws or sisters. He just got really angry, and then he held it inside and he didn't ruin the gathering, but he certainly made it very awkward for everybody else.
So he's being passive and he wants to be rescued a bit, and doesn't like the conflict, but he doesn't want to engage in the conflict. So he needs to get Sheila to fix it for him, or someone to fix it for him.
That's right.
Right. Which tells us, again, there's a child in there in an adult's body. Maybe in other areas he's an adult. Maybe he makes a lot of money. Maybe he's a great sports guy, maybe a great parent, but this part of him is pretty stuck developmentally. So I think what I would do is I would have the conversation with your daughter and not him.
Okay.
And because it's her marriage, she's probably miserable too. And you can't put leverage on them that's really huge, but she has enormous leverage and equity on him. So let's do a little quick fun role play. So give me a fake name for your daughter. First name.
Sue.
Sue? Okay.
Sue.
Toot like toot your horn?
No. Sue as in Sue. Susan.
Oh, like Sue. Okay. Okay.
Yes,
got it.
that's right.
Okay. Sue. And let's just kind of walk through whatever Sue will do, because I'm sure she's got concerns about doing that, but I want to help you to help her. I want you to help. Okay. I want you to, let's say it this way. I want you to help Sue to help hubby to see if he gets help. That's what we're going to do. Ready?
Okay.
It's a phone call. Okay. Hey, honey.
Hi, Sue.
No, you're Sue.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you being me? Okay.
I'm being you.
No problem.
I'm being the cool, healthy, health bringer of the family, Sheila, Mom.
Yes. Okay, you be me. You're saying hi to me, and I'm Sue. Hi, Mom.
Sound kind of down, by the way.
I am down, Mom. I'm still reeling from how everybody treated John so badly.
Yeah, it was horrible, and I'm so sad about it. And I did have some thoughts about that, because I know you're sad and you want the family to love each other, and it's not happening. There's so much disruption. So I did have some thoughts, if that's something you would be open to.
Well, okay.
Okay. First off, did you have any desires for me to help in any way? Because I like to know where you are first. Is there something you needed from me before I tell you what I'm thinking?
That's a good question. I guess I would want you to help if you could make it better.
Okay. Well, happy to do what I can, but I've got to kind of sort of tell you, honey, that it won't be I come and talk to John and, everything's working, because it's really not my place. And I would feel like he's not asking for it. And as I understand it, he's not asking anybody for it. And I don't want to be intrusive unless he ever calls me. But I feel there's a different relationship with. So here's what I was thinking. Can I help you to help him ask for help? Or do you think John needs help? Or do you think it's everybody else? It's all the kiddos. What's your thought?
Okay, I'm her, and I would say, yes, I think John does need some help, but I think you should tell my sisters and my brother-in-law off too.
I understand that. And what I'm trying to say, sweetheart, is that that really won't work. There's a thing I found out. I'm listening to this crazy guy on his show, and there's called triangulation. And it's when A is upset with B, and instead of going to B, A goes to C and says, fix B, and the triangles never work. People get inflamed, they get escalated. Honey, I don't want to cause more problems. So that's not one way I can help. Sorry.
Okay.
So I was wondering if I could help you with a strategy that you can help with not only him, but maybe a way that you can go to the siblings. But I want to be out of it because I'm done with, I've retired as a mother. I've got some great, adult folks in my life, but I'm not the mother part anymore. I don't want to be that. I don't think it's appropriate. Can I help you with how you could do it? Or is that something you might not have any interest in?
Yes, I'd love to know a strategy.
Well, here's one strategy I was thinking about. Why don't you call him?
Call him to the phone?
No, not John. You said you see that John needs help and you see that the Sibs need help. Why don't you call a meeting with everybody?
Oh. So me as the mother call a meeting with everyone?
So you're not their mother, you're their sibling.
Okay, so Sue should call a meeting with everyone.
Stay in the role or we'll all get confused.
I'm
You
sorry.
are not
I'm so
Sheila.
sorry.
You're not
No,
Sheila.
I'm not.
You're channeling Sue, because I'll get confused if you get confused.
Okay, my apologies. Yes. Okay, so I should call my sisters and their husbands, and we should have a meeting.
Yeah. And so we want to hash this out because we love each other and we just hated that things aren't working very well.
Okay, well, I don't think John will do that because he's terrified of a couple of the other people in the family that are strong personalities.
Okay. Well, how would he feel then if you went to a meeting where the siblings are there talking about the problems between y'all and them, but he's not there to talk about his point of view? Was he so scared that he doesn't even want to have his voice heard and people are going to be making strategies around him when he's not there? Would he prefer that?
No, no, he wouldn't prefer that. That's a good point.
Okay. So here's what I'm thinking. If you think you have the wherewithal, everybody together to get together, it's 4 or 6 people and hash it out and say, look, we love each other, how to work this out. That's great. If you think, gosh, I'm not sure this thing won't just be a hot mess, you get a facilitator, get a coach, you get a pastor, you got a counselor and say, hey, can you help us with this? And everybody gets together. And I think, sweetheart, I don't know if y'all are at the level that y'all can really hash it out because you're kind of all in it together. You may want to think about a facilitator. Point being, I'm not one, but I really believe the best way is to everybody get together, bring out the truth, stay respectful, and especially maybe a facilitator could help with John. And if John goes, I'm terrified, there's these either powerful, controlling, dominant people there, they're going to squash me like a bug. Then the facilitator says, I'm not going to let that happen. If I see squashing going on, I will say, stop squashing. And the person who feels like John, kind of intimidated and like all that, they go, okay, I've got an advocate here. So that's my best shot, honeyman. I hope that it all works out.
Okay. And all right. Thanks, Mom. I'll talk to you another time.
You stayed in roll. Way to go, Sheila.
I did. Okay, so now all right, so whether they meet or they don't.
By the way, I got a ton of callers. I got to get somebody else, but it's okay to ask me this kind of wrap-up question. Just ask me the wrap-up question.
Okay, real quick. Let me just ask you then, if they come together and it doesn't seem sorted or somebody's in a terrible mood about it, what do you do at the gathering? Do you just ignore them and be polite to them, but just carry on and not make them the focus?
No, you can't ignore it because it's so disruptive.
Okay.
I've got a model that I use when I reconcile like organizational people or families together or churches that have these problems. Stacy, if I put that together, it's just like 8 steps. Can you throw it up there in the next few days?
Yes, we can put that out on your medias.
Sheila, I'll put up the protocol, and it does involve if somebody escalates, you got to say, Sam, you're muttering under your breath. Can you do this? When I got time, it'll be up in the next few days. But that'll give you kind of a structure. If you don't want a facilitator, that structure is your facilitator.
Thank you so much. I'll look for
Sheila.
that.
Take care.
Okay, great talking to you. Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Sometimes you need a facilitator. If it's escalating crazy and one person can disrupt it, you're wasting your time. So sometimes you need somebody in there that makes it a little on the outside of the system. Hi.
This is true. Welcome to the Dr. Townsend Live Show. Caller, you're live with Dr. Townsend. Go ahead with your first name and where you're calling us from.
Hello.
Hi, welcome to the Dr. Townsend Live Show.
I don't see anything on my screen. This is the first time that I'm calling.
Yeah, you won't see anything. It's just a call in. So you're just talking live with Dr. Townsend, kind of like a phone call. So go ahead and share with him your first name and where you're calling from.
My name is Catherine, and I'm Buffalo, New York.
Hi, Catherine.
Hi. I've been debating lately if I need to disconnect from my mother. She's an elderly lady. I was taking care of her last year, and I thought she was having a mental breakdown because her behavior was, she was just saying like really, really bad things to everybody in the family. And then she attacked me physically twice. That started last winter. I started having contact with her again, and then this past June, she got very aggressive, and so much that she was attacking me. But I said something, and she got really angry and threw her glasses and started walking towards me, and I told her I was leaving. And then just these past couple of weeks, I've been debating if I need to. I've been listening to like stuff on boundaries and that. And I guess I didn't realize at some point as that being my mother, I didn't realize that I could set boundaries, and that I've been feeling that it's unhealthy for me. And I get like, every time she calls, my heart starts pounding and stuff like that. So
okay, so the question is, your mother has been irrational and really aggressive and mean, and should I disconnect from her? Is that the question?
Yes, I did actually this last week. I did finally call her after about a month, and she got really nasty. And I said, "Mom, I'm not going to do this. I can't text you. I can't talk to you on the phone. I can't see you. And please don't ask me to do anything for you because I can't see you. I can't do this."
What? Give me. This sounds really painful, Catherine. Give me one example of a mean thing she says, because there's mean and there's crazy mean, and I want to know if she's mean crazy or crazy mean.
Well, I did. I've talked to like the social workers a couple times, and they said it's all behavioral, which is even, I think, more hurtful because I'm looking like trying to pull at straws. Well, just recently, I asked her. I got this idea through like the things about boundaries on the YouTube and that to ask somebody if they would, like go to counseling with you. And at this point, that's the only way I can have a relationship with you. So I did ask that because I do want her in my life, just not where she's at right now. And she said, well, she's like, hush, that would just benefit you. I'm 76 years old, and there might be stuff that comes out that I don't want to come out.
Okay, but Catherine, tell me one mean thing she said to you.
One mean
About
thing.
you, something bad she said about Catherine.
Okay, well, when it was really bad, that because I moved in with her when I was 15, and she said she should have beat the hell out of me when I moved in with her. She said that my wedding pictures, that I looked anorexic. My dad, who's dead now, and she knows that I have very with that. He would be disappointed in me. She called my sister fat. My sister made her this like.
She's really, really wounding and critical and judging Catherine. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, that's very painful.
That, about my kids, and look at where they're at, and how
extremely
mother
wounding.
you are.
Now, you said there was a social worker involved?
There was last winter, there was a doctor coming to her house, and they were debating at that point with me whether she should go into a nursing home.
Right.
I was in contact with the social worker, and the social worker did tell me, do not go over. I'm like, well, what about like her cat needs to like, I need to change her kitty litter. How's she going to get her food? How's she going to do this?
Why did the social worker say why did the social worker say don't come to the house?
Because she physically attacked me twice.
She physically attacked the social workers? Did you say she physically attacked the social workers?
She physically attacked me twice.
You, okay.
Physically attacked me. So
and so they determined that she's not ready to go to a nursing home, right?
No, and she actually, what happened was because it got a little bit further where the doctor was taking her off of her pain meds at the same time, so she kind of canceled that doctor and went to, because there was a visiting doctor. She canceled that doctor.
So she's kind of in that awful limbo, Catherine, where if a person's really a danger to themselves, or they're like floridly psychotic or suicidal or whatever, that they have to be hospitalized, and people that just don't have
I tried that
issues. That's what I mean. It's kind of a limbo where she's functional and she's not severe enough that they can do that. So to answer your question, I would do the following. I'm not real big at disconnecting from people totally unless they're really toxic for a long period of time and they don't ever repent and all that. I would just say this. Mom, I got some ground rules. And if you're nice to me, we'll chat on the phone. And if we're not, I'll get off the phone and I'll call you maybe in a few days when you can be nice. Now, what would your mother do with that?
She would say, well, what is it that I'm doing wrong? And what about you?
And I would say, Catherine, we're kind of morphing in. We're doing a little meta on a role play here. And you just do that. And I say, well, Mom, let me tell you what you're doing wrong, because I'm glad you asked. That was a great question. You call me fat, you call me skinny, you call my kids fat, you call my kids skinny, and you physically attack me. So those are mean things. I hope that's clear. Those are mean things. And if those things happen verbally on the phone or even or in person, I won't see you or contact you for a period of time, and I'll try it again and see if you can change your behavior, because I would like to be with you. Is that clear enough, Mom? No.
Yeah, she would.
What would she do with that?
She would just, because it's what I kind of, when I talked to her over the weekend, and she said, she'll say, well, I got other kids, like Linda and I got BJ, because it's.
Great.
Yeah.
Then I would say, I know you got other kids, and I'm glad you do. And so I hear you saying you're going to stay as mean to me as you'd like to be. So I think I'm going to wait a month before I call you again because mean hurts me. And we'll try it again in a month. So today's the 3rd. I'll call you September 3rd, Mom. We'll try it again. That's what I would do, Catherine.
Okay.
So it's not a disconnect. It's not a disconnect. I would say it's more of a timeout to give her a few chances to not be so mean. But if every time you called her for the next 3 times and in the first 5 minutes, once a month, she goes all these mean things, then I would start extending it. And I'd say, Mom, next time you do, it'll be 2 months, 3 months.
Okay.
And it has 2 purposes, Catherine. The first is not to fix her. The first is to protect you. You don't need that kind of toxicity. It just hurts us. But the second is she starts to see, I might have other kids, but I like Catherine, but I was mean and she extended the time I won't talk to her. In psychology, we call that stimulus response. I was mean, Catherine responded that way. Maybe I could, if I'm a little bit nicer, she'll call me more. It's that basic with your mom. That's the way I would go, Catherine, and I hope that can help you.
Okay. Thank you so much. I
Take care.
appreciate your time.
Goodness. There's mean and there's crazy and there's mean crazy. I haven't heard the crazy part in this, Mom, unfortunately. It just sounds mean. You like to say, some people say, well, it's because they're hurt, and everybody has been hurt. But some people that have been, I've known people that have been hurt viciously in their childhood. I mean, stuff you can't talk about, and they're these cool, loving people who have great relationships, and they've got a lot of baggage. They got a lot of damage, but they're loving people. And I've had some people who haven't been hurt very much, and they're awful. So it's not always that you can tie in bad behavior now to bad treatment back then. There are things like character involved where people say, I don't like being that way. Anyway. Hey, Adam's back.
Hi, Adam. You are live on the Dr. Townsend Live Show. Are you with us? I think he is trying, but there he is. Okay,
all right.
perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, great.
right,
Welcome to the show, Adam. You're live with Dr. Townsend. Go ahead with your first name and where you're calling from.
Adam, and I am calling from Dexter, Michigan.
Hey, Adam.
First off, I wanted to say that I've been tremendously blessed by several of your appearances on Focus on the Family over the years. And soon I'm looking forward to rereading Boundaries. And I guess I'll just get into it. First time caller. This is not usually my thing, but a close friend speaks very highly of you, and seems to know a thing or two about health, and that's what I am seeking. That's my purpose. So I have several things that would benefit from your specific counsel, but one is a recurring issue that stands out from the rest. And as of recent, I've awoken to the fact that I am the wicked servant that buried my talent in the field. And I spent the last few years just prior to COVID and then on through to current trying to dig it back up and reinvest it for some kind of return. I have prayed and prayed and prayed and reached a point of exasperation. My timeline is about last September, and I feel like the way I put it is I have been put in a headlock by the Lord. And whether it's praying, whether it's fasting, whether it's seeking counsel, I don't know what to do. And this is an issue that's I've been carrying around on my back for about 12 to 15 years. And I just don't feel like I can do anything else with my life until I address this.
Adam, this is a big deal. Tell me what the talent is that you feel you really haven't, nurtured.
Yeah, so it's not an actual like a skill. It is material possessions, investment of money and wealth in material possessions. And it took me way too long to realize that I have far too much for one human being. And last December, I believe I heard from the Lord saying that you need to make your life portable. I have a desire to go into the mission field. And it wasn't just that, it was also your life needs to be able to mate with another person. And you will not be able to do that until you address all of this dysfunction and your stuff.
Okay, so what holds you back from paring down, pruning down materially, and moving ahead with the mission ministry? What's the conflict?
To me, it's a matter of integrity. If I just throw everything away, that's basically like the worst case scenario for me. I don't want to just go buy a dumpster and throw everything away. I've listed everything on several different services, and was doing great for a long period of time. I'll spare you the details, but all of a sudden last September, it just came to a screeching halt, and nothing has changed as far as like my level of commitment to making this happen. In fact, it's grown more intense over the last.
Let me get this straight. I got to get the facts straight. Okay. God has clearly told you to get rid of all your material possessions. That's a fact?
Correct.
All right. So every time you attempted, it doesn't work out. I mean, you're making some steps. You contact these agencies. So what keeps you from following through? And don't say because I'm a bad guy. That doesn't get us anywhere. What keeps you? Is there like sometimes, Adams, there's a fear. Sometimes there's a feeling that stops us. But let's get to where you get stuck in this endeavor.
Because I would be throwing away tens of thousands of dollars worth of money that I have invested just to,
I mean, you have money in the bank or in real estate or whatever, or stock or the market.
Correct.
You've got money and you'd be, well,
correct.
But God said, do it, right?
He didn't say how. That's the problem. And I've been asking for that, some clarity on that. But
I mean, God's God. And if he did, I'm not going to question him. So if he actually said that, would it be throwing it away if you just gave it to some charities? I got tons of charities that I love that you could give it to.
I have considered this.
Yes. mean, throwing away is a bad thing to me. That's putting it back under the earth, which that passage talks about. But some meaningful, nonprofits who are doing great work, then that seems like a God thing to me.
Yeah, this is something I'm open to for sure.
Okay. So frame the question for me then.
So I am wondering, that really the idea was that I would like to know if you feel it would be worth investing in professional advice on how to do this. It sounds like you're using the logical answer, which is just get rid of the stuff. And to me, though, it seems as though.
What's a non-logical answer that would be preferable?
I don't think that I'm looking for the non-logical answer. I'm looking for the healthiest answer. And that's why I'm coming to you for advice. I have taken the hard route up to this point because the easy route would be just literally cut ties and get rid of everything, burn the ships. But I
get that. Okay, here, you know what I would do, Adam? I would follow up where you were kind of thinking a second ago is I don't think you can do this in your own head because our own head is like, what do they say? A fish doesn't know when he's wet. And
yeah, exactly.
And you've got this call and you got this mission stuff. I would go with somebody you trust, for example, a really good Christian counselor that can think through these things and find out, A, is there something emotional that's keeping me from getting rid of all this stuff? And B, let's ascertain the will of God, if it really is the will of God. And C, if it is the will of God, what is the path? Is it throwing a trash in a dumpster? I think it's a bad idea. Is it given to somewhere where poor people who need Christ can get it? So you got to get 3 questions answered in relationship. Is is there something emotional that's keeping me in check? Number two, is this really God speaking? Number three,
Okay.
what's the path? So I got to scram, but that's the way I would go. And best wishes to you, Adam. I think you got a good heart.
Thank you, sir. God bless you.
Okay. You know, I was talking to a friend this last week about materialism and stuff, and he made a great statement. He said that his whole goal is to make life simpler. And he's a person of, with means, but he said he's realized that simplicity is where he wants to go. And it's very kind of inspiring to hear that. Now, if you're calling from a developing country, that's a different story. But a lot of us in the West, simpler is good. Anyway.
Absolutely.
By the way, before we go to the next call, Stacy, I want to tell you guys about what we're about. If you like this material, this approach, and, using the Bible and neuroscience and psychology and leadership stuff, and you feel like this is a time that you would like a career and a credential and a bona fide degree or credential, come to the Townsend Institute. We have 3 programs where you can get a master's or credential in these programs: counseling, organizational leadership, and executive coaching consulting. And in counseling, you can get a PhD now, a doctorate. So we've got hundreds and hundreds of students. They're getting great jobs. They're happy. They like this approach, kind of the relational plus strategy approach. And the reports we're getting from their bosses and supervisors are saying these people are at the top of the heap. So if you want to be at the top of the heap, if you're time for your vision, Stacey's throwing the Townsend Institute link down there, and we'd love to have you. We're starting next week for a kickoff for the fall. So we've got hundreds of students coming to Concordia University campus in Irvine, California, where we're partnered. But I don't know if it's too late to get into that, but if it's not too late, ask them some questions. If it is too late, see you in February, because we're still doing the same thing in the spring. So that's what we're about. Okay, Stacy.
Your caller is on the line. Caller, you're live with Dr. Townsend. Go ahead with your first name and where you're calling from. Caller, are you with us?
Oh, sorry, I had it on mute. Hi, Dr.
Okay.
Townsend. I'm Shannon, and I'm calling from Kentucky, and I want to say thank you for writing your books, because when the Lord began
Which
to...
book is that?
Oh my gosh, the one about hiding.
Hiding from Love.
Yes, Hiding from Love. Yes, that was the very first book I read of yours, and that opened a whole world of probably 35 years of holding everything in.
Wow.
And so it was kind of just a cracking open of the nut. And so I just want to say thank you. It's been a journey. But my question today is, I ran across a piece on Facebook, and it talks about a couple that is struggling in their marriage, and the husband is angry at his wife, really because it's displaced anger from his mom. But the wife is most likely her father was not a man who provided for her or connected with her deepest needs. And in the absence of what he could have given her, she has expected her husband to make up for. She does not know that this is what she is doing. And so she resents the man in her life today because he's unable to fill the void left by her uncaring father. That kind of stopped at that piece, and I recognized that that is still me. That's a piece of my journey that I haven't really tapped into yet. But that piece on Facebook gave no answers even to where to begin to heal that wound.
So you resonated personally with that narrative then, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. My dad was he was great at his job. He was recognized throughout the city, throughout the state. And I grew up in another state than where I live now, but he was great at it. Great. But because my parents came with so much baggage into their marriage, and they were not Christians at all, I think of being just such a sensitive, very, I don't know if you call it emotional child, I realized that in an atmosphere of fighting in my parents, and then there was so much fighting and dysfunction between my dad and his family and my mom and her family, and the children weren't always. It was kind of like you should be seen and not heard, and if you're seen, maybe you should go outside. I ended up keeping all of this stuff in, and I essentially just kind of shut them out.
Okay.
Because
so now I need you to ask me that question for Shannon nowadays, so I can help. So frame the question for me.
Okay. So my question is, how do I begin to go about healing this piece of me where my dad was very, I don't want to say reckless in a way, but he was very, on the spur of the moment. And I grew up on edge, not knowing what to expect. He had a temper, and yet he had good pieces about him. There were times he could sit down and talk to me. There were times that he could.
Shannon, I need you to frame
really
a question for me, though. Can you frame a question?
Okay,
because
so
I've got limited time. Sorry.
How do I begin to process that? How do I get to where I can heal that piece? And maybe there's my problem is I don't know how to form that question.
Well,
I know that
I think you're forming it very well. And it's sadly enough, it's a common problem where dad, or sometimes mom, sometimes dad, where parents are supposed to build a human. That's their job. They build this thing called a human that was a baby that becomes an adult. That's the whole idea. And they have certain jobs to do that intertwine. And when one of them, in this case, your dad, nice guy, but he's got his own baggage, he doesn't build the things he needs to into you, like security and like strength and your own voice and those sorts of things. Let me tell you the path. If you've seen the program at all, there's always 4 levels of severity. There's none, which means life's okay. There's mild, moderate, severe. None means you can help other people because your issues aren't that big a deal and you're helping everybody else. But if it's mild or moderate, severe, it's a different story. So if it was mild and you're just saying, it's just kind of like, I don't like it and it's holding me back a bit. What I would probably do is I would go back to Hiding from Love. And I would also read Henry Cloud's book. We did a ton of books together. He wrote a book called Changes That Heal. And both of those books, if you understand the model of attachment and separation and integration and adulthood, you're talking about issues a little bit, and some in attachment, because he wasn't there emotionally, but also you're talking about separation where it was hard for you to have Shannon's own voice because dad didn't give you the strength. Go and both of those books have tons of skills in them. If you don't need a counselor, if it gets to moderate or severe, you're going to have to see a counselor. But if it's in the mild range, Shannon, get those books, go down and go, gosh, Henry just gave 10 skills to help this. Johnny just gave 10 skills to help this. And then find a supportive group of other gals that are healthy and friends and just get them, a small group, Bible study, or whatever. But if you learn, the whole idea is that you can rebuild the humanity in you that mom and dad didn't do if you've got the right people building it into, and if you know what you need to do, which the skills will tell you. The skills are the path, and the people are the relational part. You got the task part and the relational part, and that's how it works. So I think it's a valid problem and a great question. I'm glad we talked. So thanks, Shannon.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Hard stuff for sure.
Well, it's hard stuff, but it's a great question, Stacy, because a lot of people say, okay, I had, I don't know, abuse or alcoholism or I wasn't loved. And they think the answer, you hear these kind of, I would call them like patchwork quilt answers, like try this, try this.
Mm-hmm.
And so somebody will say, well, you just got to get in touch with your feelings and then just, cry and scream and throw chairs around. Well, that could help. Catharsis can help. And some people say, no, you just read your Bible more. And because God is your father and he'll follow you. Well, yes, but God also, when Shannon was talking, I was thinking about Psalm 68:6. It says, God provides a home for the lonely. That God fathers us, but also people do. God's God's prescription for health is always him plus others. So some people say, no, just pray more. Well, they don't read their whole Bible. Some people say, just touch your feelings. No, that's not all either. But the best path is you've got God doing his grace with us through the Holy Spirit in the Bible. We've got that in place. We've got a path, which I gave Shannon.
Right.
And then you've also got the relationships, which do the remothering and refathering and build you up to become an adult human. It's
Right.
really that kind of, I'm trying to make something simple, simpler. It's that simple. Anyway.
Right. Well, and now we're on to the next caller. Caller, you are live with Dr. Townsend. Go ahead with your first name and where you're calling from. Catherine, are you with us? Okay, Catherine, if you can hear us, your audio is not coming through, so maybe try us back again in just a few minutes. Okay. Caller, you are live on the Dr. Townsend Show. Go ahead with your first name and where you're calling from.
Yes, hi. I call myself Sarah for the privacy because I gave your number to so many people to call. And so my name is Sarah from Southern California.
Sarah,
I'm calling Dr.
hey,
Townsend.
Sarah, can you hear
Yes.
me? If you're
Yes.
able to, can you speak directly into your microphone? We're
Okay.
having kind of a hard time hearing you.
And maybe
Sure.
Sarah,
Is it okay?
if you could slow it down just a little bit as well. I'm understanding every fifth word, and I really want to help.
Sure, thank you. So you hear me now?
Perfect.
Is it better now?
It's 10 times better. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay. You know that I have a family. I have 3 children, 1 daughter, which is older, and 2 sons, and I'm a widow. And my sister, the only family I have in the United States, lives in another state. And she called me. She said, "Oh, that's great. I'm coming, and because I'm only going to be 3 days in here, so and I won't have a car. So if you want to see me, if you like." And I said, "Of course, the person who lives here should accommodate you. I will definitely make a trip to come and see you." She said, "Oh, only come alone."
Wait a minute. Who
Me
was
and
the
your dog."
person, Sarah? Who was the person who you said the person who lives there? And I kind of didn't know who that is.
No, my sister, my older sister, like 2 years older than me.
Okay, so you have a sister that lives in another state that wants to visit you. Yeah.
No, she's visiting her son, but while she's visiting, she wants to see me and my daughter and her son and her son's fiance.
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
she told me to come alone, like without my 2 sons, and they are not kids. Like one is 27, one is 30.
Did
And
she
that was-
say why she didn't want them?
No, she doesn't say she doesn't want. She always says, "Oh, I love them. They are no different than my child." But in action, always she excludes them. She only includes my daughter. She always excludes them.
And you've
that's
never
what-
had the conversation of why that's true? That's kind of weird that she would do that.
Oh, whenever I have conversation, she is the kind of person very, like gaslighting, making you feel guilty, and
Oh.
she reacts. She does not respond. And I
Okay.
love her because she is my sister and family, but it is very hard to, talk to her because no matter how I say it, always she either hang up or scream.
Sarah,
or do something.
this is a perfect role play. Perfect.
Yes.
So
Okay.
you'll be sister and I'll be the healthy, loving Sarah with some boundaries. All right.
Okay.
So
Okay.
your sister and you do all the stuff. You do all the gaslighting. I'll show you how to handle it. So anyway,
Okay.
sis, I'd love to visit you, but I just don't. I think I've got to be there either with no kids or with all the kids. I'm not going to make a decision between them. So you got a choice here. I can't do it with just a partial kid. It's just I think it's too unfair. What do you want to do?
No, the reason I said that because I think they might be busy and they might have something to do. So I just wanted to see each other because I'm here for briefly.
Oh, so you're concerned that my kids would be busy, so you didn't want to mess up their schedules. Do I have that right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm so glad you said that, sis, because we'll find out. So shall I tell them that you're inviting them and let them choose about their schedules?
I think it's better not, because actually it's not me inviting, my son. My son is inviting. And
okay.
Just
and your son is
yeah.
concerned with their schedules and doesn't want to intrude on their schedules?
No, my son, but it's very hard because I want to show you. The son is not even, he only, he's too busy. He just want to see, the daughter. The son is like that.
Yeah, and
he doesn't want to waste his time.
Please tell my nephew, your son, that I don't do that,
Yes.
but thank you very much. We don't do it that way.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, wait a minute. Sarah,
Yes.
Sarah, that was a softball. You're
Yes.
just lobbing softballs. Now do whatever gaslighting,
Yes.
crazy stuff she would do.
Oh, my son is old enough. You can't tell him what to do. You can't tell me what to do. Just forget it and
Okay.
hang up.
Okay.
What you
Love
do.
you. Talk to you later.
Yeah.
You see,
He doesn't even give you that chance.
yeah, great.
Yeah.
She can't negotiate. So here's the principle, Sarah, is
Yes.
you want to she's controlling you. She's probably even using the son as an excuse. She's probably her. So here's the principle I want you to have in your head is that you want to turn a controlling person into a frustrated person. I was trying to be you're a nice person. So I was trying to be nice and respectful, but very clear. Here's my ground rules. I come by myself where all the kids go. I don't do the dividing up. I was clear about that. Yes. She blew up and she left, and I'm going to go have a latte now. So you frustrated her, but you don't get hooked into the manipulation. You're just very clear. No, that won't work. And if you had kept kind of building up and escalating with me, I would just keep saying, yes, sis, that's not going to work. How's the weather? But don't get hooked.
Yes.
Keep your boundaries and let her have her tantrum and be frustrated.
Yeah, the word I can use is very extreme narcissistic. And, it has been very difficult. And these are the family, they moved to my house.
And Sarah, I'm going to have to go because we solved the problem. I got another call coming, but I hope that'll work next time sis calls and tries to make you crazy. You're not crazy.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you. That's it. Bye.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Turn the controlling person into a frustrated person. Put that on your refrigerator. The next time somebody wants to manipulate you by guilt and, saying you're the problem, and all of a sudden you're starting to feel this like loss of freedom and stuff. That's all you have to do. Because remember, boundaries aren't about you controlling anybody. Boundaries are about you controlling your life, your safety, your money. And when they say you're controlling me, you say, no, I'm just saying no. So keep it straight.
True.
Okay. Got our last call, right, Stacy?
Yep, this is correct. Beverly, welcome to the Dr. Townsend Live Show. You're live with Dr. Townsend. If you'll unmute your microphone.
Stacy, how did you? I can't tell that you were a wizard. How did you figure that out?
Technical stuff.
Oh, you're not going to tell me your trade secrets. Okay. Hi, Beverly.
Beverly's with us, but Beverly, you are still muted. If you would like to speak with Dr. Townsend and ask him your question, if you can unmute yourself, then we'll be able to hear you. Oh, no, not your camera.
Okay, wait.
That's okay. I got it. We can hear you now.
There,
You're
okay. Hello, Doctor. My name is Beverly, and I actually am from Mariners Church, and I taught a lot of solutions classes for all those years.
Oh my goodness, solutions with Henry Mia Mariners. That's
you guys
great deja vu there, right?
Now I live in Kansas City. I just moved 9 months ago to be with my sons here in Kansas City. Oh. So my question is the Asperger's syndrome. Mm-hmm. I've been in relationship dating for 6 years. He says he doesn't have this, that I do. It's very difficult to feel known and understood, makes me have a lot of anxiety. I just, he loves and he sees everything from his heart. It's just the social skills and the lack of empathy. Is there any therapy or anything that we could go to where he's open to it. I know it's a developmental thing. Like, I just don't know how to, I don't think I could ever enter into marriage with him. I feel not ever heard or.
Yeah, it's a struggle, and there is no cure for it at this point, Beverly. There is managing it. So number one, make sure that it is Asperger's, because there are other things. What is Asperger's? It's part of the spectrum that includes things like autism and other things, where a person can be very caring and loving, but they have a very difficult time in the social interaction. They have a hard time being able to communicate empathy. They have a hard time understanding how to enter someone's world. It's like they want to connect, but there's developmental things that keep them from that. And so if he denies it, then you say, well, because it could be true. There are other things that could explain it. There's what we would call a schizoid issue. And schizoid dynamics are when a person is withdrawn, can't feel their needs, can't open up emotionally sometimes. And there's some differences in them diagnostically between a schizoid withdrawn person and a spectrum person. I would tell him, I'm serious about you, but I'm very concerned. So we need to go see someone, a psychologist, and they can do this, or they can send you to somebody that's an Asperger's specialist, but they've got to understand things that aren't Asperger's. That's why I say go to a psychologist first, because they understand both worlds, and say, I need a couple of sessions with you and let me know. So if he says, no, he doesn't have it, he just has a lot of hurt issues and trust issues, and he doesn't feel empathy because he was so wounded, get him in therapy, because it fixes all that. If it truly is Asperger's, something on the spectrum, then there's management of it. And they'll teach them things like, kind of coach them to like what's close and what's not close, and sort of give them cues. But they haven't found ways to, as you describe it, to have him know at that level. He can know you to the extent that he can, but there are limitations because of the disorder. So I would want you to know that up front. But I think you've got some steps to go before you make that determination. A, maybe he doesn't have it. Maybe it's woundedness. And B, maybe it's not so severe that the coaching could not make you, maybe with all those other great qualities, you could say, okay, he doesn't know me as deeply as I need all the time, but there's so many other things. Some people just say the net effect is a positive. So take those steps before you come to a conclusion, Beverly.
Okay. How do I spell the other one? The one you told me?
He goes to therapy.
But you call it something.
A person that's been wounded, like when you read Hiding from Love, a person that's been wounded in attachment.
JT, she's talking about the schizoid.
That's what I was talking about. The schizoid, which means withdrawal.
Asking how you spell it.
Oh, I thought you said, how do you fix it? Sorry. Yeah, you asked me what time it was, and I told you how to build a watch, Beverly.
Yes.
Okay. S as in Sam, C as in Charlie, H as in Harold, I as in Indigo, Z as in Zebra, O as in Orange, I as in Indigo, D as in David.
Thank you.
And a good psychologist knows both.
Thank you very much.
All right,
I miss you all so much. Yes. Thank you.
You got me thinking about those days. They were wonderful days. So you kind of were my little Prozac today on the show.
Yeah, in the upper room.
In the upper room, you got it. All those great questions people ask.
Doc and Dottie B. Shore, like all that way back. So God bless you and your ministry. Thank you.
Okay, Beverly. Oh, mercy. That was kind of cool. Henry and I did that for 20 years, every Monday night at different venues. Mariners Church in Irvine, a couple of other churches, some hotels. You pay $5, $7.39, Monday Night Solutions. And either Henry and I or both of us are talking. We'll talk about a topic, relationships, depression, kids, or whatever. And then that was the hour of talking. And then 30 minutes of open mic where people asked anything they wanted to ask without a filter. And I'm telling you, you would go, these people know there's 500 people listening right now. It was great.
We've had people come through the growth skills workshops with you and Henry that have been to those.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great 20 years because people got so much growth. They formed community. They loved each other. They found a way to connect and heal and grow. It was a great, great period. So that was good. Anyway, thanks for being on the show. Our time's up, and we hope that you have a great week, and we'll see you next week this time.